Nation. Hey, welcome to this week's Hump Day Holla, brought to you by Mortgage Gumbo with me, Dwayne Stein. Hey, on the show today, great to have you with us here midweek. A lot going on. So, a lot of changes got put into place last week. We briefly touched on it on Saturday. And just special shout out to Florida Lee Law and Title. We had Dawn Kazdasu in office, CEO with Florida Lee, and owner Jeff Leschere as well. Shared some great information. Actually, had some breaking news. Go back, check that out. Some breaking news when it comes to this title lock stuff that you see all these commercials in Louisiana, especially in St. Tammany Parish. They just passed something where all you got to do is put your name on a list, and anytime somebody puts your name in or goes to do anything, they alert you. So how great is that, right? We can actually use technology for a good thing here to protect instead of just scaring. So, but today, hey, we're going to keep you updated, let you know FHA made some changes, and really just a market share update. What's going on, right? The weather's heating up, right? No doubt about that. We're starting now, March 1st. We start getting into what is normally that spring home buying season. So we want to help you prep for that and understand exactly where we're at. So, James, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here this week. You enjoy Saturday off, my man? Did you enjoy that or what, buddy?
Yeah, Saturday's off, except for you get in such a routine when you work 6 days a week that you can't sleep in.
Yeah,
So, I
right,
mean, I still wake up. I still listen to the show. I watch
right.
part of it, but then I listen to the rest of it.
Yeah.
So,
No, I appreciate you reaching out like, hey, technical difficulties. What can I do to help? You know, you gotta love technology. That's for sure, man. So I know you were talking about one of the things you wanted to share, and it's sort of all over. And again, we talk about headlines, right? And you kind of got a whopper for it's not a whopper, but an idea. I think you had said you had a headline that you kind of wanted to throw at me and get my thoughts. So what is that, my man?
okay, so for this one, this is a headline that was the top story on CNBC.com today. And then if you turn on CNBC itself, they spent quite a bit of airtime on it. And what we have here is mortgage demand drops to a 28-year low. And whenever I hear numbers that are, that long of a stretch, we're talking about a whole generation here. I pay attention to that. And so now I want to ask you about that because I am on the fence that this sounds like it's bad news. Like, boy, the real estate market is really a mess. What a drag, what a horrible place to be. But I have been of the opinion that you are smart to buy when the economy or the real estate market is depressed. And you don't want to be buying when it's all hot and frothy and, everyone's bidding everybody else up. This is where you get the good deals from.
Yeah, I mean, in that headline there, it's a headline if you're looking at over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Keep in mind, before that, when we were at the end of January, going into the beginning of February, things took off. We've got tons of buyers right now that we've got under contract that we're closing in the next week or so. We've got a lot of refinances right now that are going on because what is the things we keep talking about, right? That number on a piece of paper when it comes to interest rate, what does that really do for you when it comes to money in and out of your pocket? So, yeah, that headline saying applications are down. Yes, they are over the last couple of weeks. But this is where I would sort of pivot and have the listeners understanding the simple thing is this, like you mentioned, right now is opportunity, right? Right now, more than ever, is some of that opportunity before that spring buying. And the reason why it's down is the rates pivoted, right? Rates, we were coming on the show the beginning of February. We talked about that Friday. Tomorrow, I get to announce that we're at under 6%. And, they came in with those numbers and then we were like up 6.25. Well, ever since then, it's been up, down, and all around, so to speak. So, the numbers have been quite challenging when it comes to interest rates. So what do? Well, if you sell a number on a piece of paper, you're out telling people right now, hey, here's what it is. Go buy 3 or 4 discount points and try and lower that payment. We got several people spoke to end of last week and the beginning of this week where these banks are selling them on, hey, I could get you 5.75%. And then they're selling them 2.5, 3 points On one, they're charging these people $16,000. And for what? We all know at this point, if you're listening to the show or hearing us speak, we all know anything that you're getting right now is temporary. Talked about it on Greg Ricks's Winning at Life. Everything you're doing right now is temporary. So don't go paying a whole bunch of extra money towards something, chasing a number on a piece of paper. So that's where you've got to look at right now as these rates, and we told you, they're going to recede over time, but it is going to take time. It's not going to be a direct fall. So right now we're having some hiccups. There's some roadblocks, when you're looking at jobs reports, inflation, look, March 22nd, the Fed speaks again. They're going to raise rates at least 50 basis points. How much of that is priced into the market and affects inflation? Keep in mind, our mortgage rates are based on inflation. Nothing to do with the Fed does, but we keep an eye on that because if they stay the course, then that means we went from them thinking they're going to do a quarter and probably whole. If they go to 50 basis points, that means they don't have it in control yet, James and listeners. That means there's more pain on the way, which is not what we want, unfortunately. Just keeping it real there, right? So, a lot of people out there go, oh, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. Well, look, originally it was supposed to be better at the end of the first quarter. It's not going to be. And when I say better, meaning interest rates being a little bit more palatable, right? Taste a little bit better, a little bit more where you can go, hey, you know what? I'm ready to go. And we're still seeing that because people are, for us at Mortgage Gumbo, people are going to snapsendandsave.com and seeing what are they at. Lots of people getting pre-approved right now. So when that house does come up, as we approach that spring buying season, they're ready to pounce and they can get ahead of other folks, James. So to get back to that headline, yes, applications are down. 28-year lows. I'll leave that up to whatever data they went and found to make that a nice headline, and leave it at that. But buyers who aren't worried about things, they see the opportunities right now, and they're taking advantage of it, like our listeners here on Gumbo Nation.
So I don't think inflation is going to slow down anytime soon. There's no one in DC who wants to put a stop to the printing press, and we all know that that's the backstop, the real culprit here. So we have inflation that's still above 6%, and now we're in a danger zone because we had high inflation this month last year. So if you're building 6% on top of the 6% that happened last year, remember it got up to 9% last June. So we are having now compounding inflation to where we've gotten, hey, you got a 12% pay cut from 2 years ago if everything else stayed the same. So I don't see the Fed stopping raising rates because they are not doing a good job slowing down the inflation. And if they're going to keep pushing their rates up, then mortgage rates could necessarily follow.
They follow inflation. That's what mortgage rates follow, right? Mortgage rates follow inflation. So, and it's kind of comical, like, hey, they came out and they were beating their chest. Hey, we just gave you everybody over 83 million. I think people got this or 250 something million. It's a crazy number. Cost of living adjustment up $140 a month. I'm all for people getting more money, right? I'm all for that. You know what's unfortunate? The Fed put us in that position with the inflation. So they put you in the inflation and then they go, hey, listen, check this out. We're going to give you an extra $140 a month. Well, yeah, because now I got to buy $9 eggs. So it's kind of like you're talking about. We know it's real. People are starting, and I'm seeing it with refinancing. People are starting to feel it, James, because those credit cards, those balances are adding up very, very quickly. Now, even though rates are higher and we're refinancing folks right now that maybe have that 3.5%, 4% interest rate, and we're increasing that, we're saving people $500, $600, $700 a month. I've got one client, $1,800 a month. That's more important than that number on a piece of paper. And again, guess what? This is going to be a temporary loan, but let's take advantage of it, because what's happening is, James, what I'm seeing, so many people that are coming to me, they're like, my credit score has taken an absolute plunge. And why? Because their utilization is up, right? You're using those credit cards, those $9 eggs, add up on your utilization a lot quicker now. So let's get it corrected. Let's get that credit score back in order with that refinance and give you those savings that you deserve.
Well, then I can also see in the medium term here, the intersection of your industry and politics is going to happen with the presidential election. Because while the Fed likes to pretend it's a nonpartisan, non-political animal, you and I have both recognized definite patterns in their behavior that belie the truth. And I have a feeling, and this is just my personal feeling,
Sure.
that they're going to slam the rates before the election happens. They do not want to go into the 2024 presidential election with rates still increasing, grinding the economy to a halt, just in hopes that the inflation can come down. They want to be going when there's a sugar high, when they slam the rates and it's totally unexpected. Money's going to pour into all of these other places where liquidity is currently tight. And, you know, that it's not going to last. It's going to cause another crash, but we'll be on that sugar high when everyone goes to the ballot box. And that's my medium term prediction, which is very optimistic because it means if you have to move now, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to refi probably within a year and a half or 2 years.
Absolutely. And that's where we discussed on last week's show. That's why right now, when we talk about opportunity, that's a big word. So what does that mean? Well, that means getting a seller to pay closing costs. Somebody selling right now more than likely has to, right? The 4 Ds: death, divorce, debt, or distance, meaning they got to relocate, right? So there's wins out there right now. So you've got that's part of opportunity, getting seller paid, the rate buy down, right? You know, getting that 1 year and that 1% rate decrease and saving. Closed on a loan yesterday. Hey, it's going to be that rate decrease, that payment. We're saving these buyers $180 a month for the next year. And then when that comes into play in a year from now, we're going to revisit where we think, because I'm sort of playing the same game. I know, you know, and our listeners know, and this is why we do this to educate them. 42% of the inflation number comes from housing. So that number can't get where it is if they don't get that in order. So that's the part. Right now, it's dilly-dallying, trying this, trying that. Let's sort of see if it'll work itself out on its own. If it doesn't, then you probably are going to see some type of pivot. So again, what's going to happen there? It's going to be the same thing it was 4 weeks ago. Do you want to be competing with a whole bunch of other people? What is the cost of waiting? What is the cost of you buying now versus waiting another 6 to 8 months? That's what you got to look at. And hey, we even have a tool that can show you that, the cost of waiting, right? Oh, I want to save more money for a bigger down payment so I could buy that bigger house. Well, let us show you how you could buy that house with less money using what the seller offers. Now it's time to make sure, whether it's your lender, your realtor, whoever it is, that you've got people that know what they're doing and can create solutions for you.
All right. Can I run a chart by you real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Because this is stuff that you know, but I didn't know this stuff. And the guy that's watching us right now didn't know this stuff. But how much of a difference does your credit score actually make when you're getting a loan? And when you look at the averages, this is, I found this on CNBC, the credit scores and mortgage rates. So right now, for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage on a house that's $300,000, if you have great credit, you're looking at 6.41%. But if you have horrible credit, and 620, I mean, it's not horrible, it's, you know, doable.
Yeah.
It's 8%. So you're just losing 1.5%. Now that makes a nice little jump in your monthly payment by a little over $300 there. But you're still getting in a house, and you're still going to be in position to go ahead and start building equity, and you can refinance out of that 8% in a year or two, when you, because you know they're going to have to slam the rates eventually, because you know, either for the election or the next recession that they cause, they're going to slam the rates pretty soon. So that's a lot better than I thought.
Well, and keep in mind too, James, that 620, that's based on a conventional loan. That 620, we're going FHA, and their rate's going to be more than likely in the sixes. So that, again, that looks good on that chart. That somebody that's trying to show you, in the end, there's probably some kind of advertisement on there about credit repair, you know, or something along that article. Click here, improve your credit, right? So when you're looking at that, it just depends on down payment. There's a lot of factors. That's the beauty and why 30 plus years I've been able to come into work every day with a big smile on my face, because everything is different. Everybody's different. You can make the same amount of money, but if you've got different credit, different needs, different goals, it's my job to work with you to figure those things out. So, yeah, I mean, right now, what I would say is right now, get that credit in order. Don't wonder. Go to snapsendandSave.com and let's find out. Free credit review, free credit repair. We look at that for you to see exactly and guide you on what you can do there.
Well, look, as the non-mortgage guy, you see these charts every day, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that my wife has a better credit score than me. She's always up at like an 830 or 850. She has ideal credit, never does anything wrong. She's perfect.
Yep.
My credit score, though, kind of wobbles between, sometimes I can get it up to 800, sometimes it's like 770 or so. But I look at this chart, and although my wife's credit score is like 70 points higher than mine, we're in the same top tier. She doesn't get any bonus money or bonus rates for
Look,
being a perfect credit score.
the unfortunate thing is there's no, and I tell people this all the time, they go, hey, I got an 810 credit score. There's no score out there where you fit in a box of perfect credit and you get this extra 1% off or something like that, right? So it is what it is. Our goal is to get you, and because we have the programs, our goal is to get you in a position where you qualify for the best rate that your credit has. So we may look at that and tweak something to get you that extra point, because it might be 0.25%. We're not order takers here, right? So our job when you get with us, you're trusting us, you're hiring us. So our job when we are working for you is to go get and do the best thing that we can to give you the best results, especially when it comes to home ownership, and nothing more important. Nothing more important.
And when you talk about these little tricks that you do, like maybe paying down a credit card just like another $100 or so to get under 30% utilization,
Yeah.
one point on your credit score could be the difference between like a 7.4 and a 7.0% mortgage.
Absolutely. Yes.
Which is,
Or the difference of you going FHA versus conventional rural development with 100% financing versus now I got to go FHA with 3.5% financing, with mortgage insurance, all those things. So big time. Yeah.
right. And so now your payment would be $123 a month cheaper just by doing something about investigating your credit score, doing a little
Absolutely.
surgery
Yep.
there.
Yep.
So that little continuing education for little old me trying to figure out what you do during the week. And
Yep.
I thought I would share that.
Nope, absolutely. And then listen, James, one of the things that got announced last week that I think's good. Hey, let's give the Fed a little credit as well. But this kind of gives you an idea of what they're trying to do, right? They understand there's pain in the housing industry right now. So the Fed announced that they are reducing the annual MIP. And we're going to post this on the Gumbo Nation Facebook page and everywhere else out there. I've already shared it, but so now when you're going to buy a house with FHA and you put down 3.5%, right? You would have your monthly mortgage. It's called annual MIP, which is mortgage insurance premium, and it's a monthly payment factor. It was 85 basis points. They're lowering that down to 55. So that is a 30 basis point decrease. Right now, it's not back to the 30 that it was back in, before they changed it in 12 or whatever that year was. But that is a win for you, clients. So again, being something temporary, that's a little bit more reason why maybe we consider that FHA loan right now over that conventional loan, putting less money down, because this isn't going to be your permanent financing. So let's give you a little bit of a little relief on that payment. And guess what that's going to help with? That affordability as well. So now you could buy that house with less payment, same house, just costs you less every month to own. So there's wins there. So if you got questions on that, hey, you know where to find. That's a great thing. So that's a win. We'll take that, but it gives you an idea of what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to tweak little things as much as they can.
So is MIP, did they just rearrange the letters of PMI and it's kind of the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Yeah, it's a mortgage insurance premium. And when you do an FHA loan, a government loan, you have upfront, which is a 1.75 charge on top of the loan, regardless. And then they have the annual MIP, which is silly. They call it annual, but it's a monthly factor. But like I said, that's a huge reduction. 30 basis, when you look at 85 down to 55, hey, that's more money in your pocket every month. And if you know me, cash is king. We're going to make that work for you. We're going to show you how to take advantage of that.
Realtor Rally, what's coming up on the show? Anything?
Yeah, no, hey, we've got a bunch of great stuff going on. So when we've got this Saturday, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but we're going to continue to educate. How can you win in this environment, right? How can you win? And not necessarily with some contingencies. I plan on talking about that in the next couple of weeks, but how do you make these offers to win in this environment? Those are the things that we're going to be sharing with you on this Saturday's show to help you understand. There's a lot of opportunity right now, and everything is not just interest rate. It's not just interest rate. So, hey, we'll talk to you Saturday. And until then, keep stirring the pot.